Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, panel, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and talk about extreme sports and the adventure activities that are coming to the region. Real quick, just want to introduce our panel and give them an opportunity to give a little bit of background about what it is that they bring to the kingdom. And I will start with Mr. Abdul Alamatari, the CEO of Saudi Extreme Sports Federation.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Abdul Majid Al-Mutayri, CEO of the Saudi Arabian Extreme Sports Federation. I have been in the federation for 4 years, more than 4 years, and coming from the adventure sport background as a skydiver, multi-instructor skydiver, and safety and training advisor for the United States Parachute Association, delegate for Saudi Arabia to the International Skydiving Committee. I have my team here. I would like to thank them for coming. Our team from the Federation, Noura, Asma, Yahya, Fahad. Thank you for coming, and thank you everyone for coming here.
Awesome, thank you so much. Next up, we have Adam McEwen. He is the Group CEO of Hero Experiences.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's a very intimate room, so thank you very much for taking the time. So at Hero Experiences, we run a range of activities, air, land, and sea, the essence of which is to create opportunities for guests to become the hero of their own experience. So just imagine if you were to make a movie of the guests, are they the hero of the story or are they an extra? With us, we aim to make them the hero of their own story. So with those, we do safaris in old 1950s Land Rovers. We have hot air balloons. The first hot air balloon company in Saudi Arabia, which I encourage you to visit in the beautiful city of Alula. We have tethered balloons out of Atlantis, the Palm, so you get that beautiful view of Dubai. And we also have a foray into outdoor adventure with Absolute Adventures in the UAE, soon to be Saudi, hopefully, where we have school children learning the great outdoors and tying that to their curriculum.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we have Mr. Ben Barker. He is the Managing Director of Extreme Destinations.
Thank you very much. So exactly as Olivia just said, Ben Barker, the Managing Director of Extreme Destinations. We're doing a lot of consultancy in the adventure and outdoor space globally, but we've been in the kingdom for the last 6 years, working on a lot of projects for the giga projects and the smaller projects. We really do focus around the adventure space, whether it's indoors, outdoors. We're now really driving the hospitality element as well. A lot of you will probably know Extreme from about 25 years ago, where we started off as the Extreme TV channel within the media and marketing space. At the moment, we've got about 20 million fans across all the various social media channels, and we're doing around 250 to 300 million video views a month across those channels as well. So it's a really interesting, compelling offer for our clients where you can mix the destinations with the media and the marketing side of things. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Last but not least, we have Nizar Fakhouri. He is the Executive Director of Destination Development for the Royal Commission for Alula.
Thank you very much, Olivia. As you said, Executive Director at the Royal Commission for Alula. I've been living in Alula for the last 30 years, working in the GCC for the last 21 years. My first job was here in Saudi Arabia in 2003, I believe. And I've been in the government sector, in the tourism sector since 2017, working mainly in activating tourism destinations.
Awesome, thank you guys. So we are going to jump right into this. Got 2 questions to start off with. A little bit different, but same. Why are outdoor sports important, but also why are adventure experiences important? So Ben, we'll let you start with why are outdoor sports important?
Good question. They are incredibly important because it gets people outdoors, it gets people breathing fresh air in nature, understanding the world around them. It's really important, not just for people, but for the whole families, for kids, to get involved in the outdoor space. It's really good for the planet. It's really good for them to understand what they can do with their bodies if they put their minds to it. I think a lot of the kids these days are stuck indoors on their tablets, on their phones, in front of their TV screens, and they don't really understand what their bodies and their minds are able to accomplish. When you get outdoors, when you're going hiking, mountain biking, climbing, or whatever it is, you really understand, you can really test yourself and understand what your own limits are. Do you want me to answer the second question or for somebody else?
Yeah, jump right into it. Let's see the difference between the two.
What was the second question?
Why are adventure experiences important?
Cool, I think I kind of answered that in the first question, but yeah, I mean, listen, I think adventure sports are really important for people because, again, it gets them, exactly as Adam just said, you know, what they're doing at Hero, you know, adventure sports are across land, air, and sea, land, air, and water. So I think with adventure sports, again, it's really important because most of them are done outdoors, but it gets people active mentally and physically in very different environments, very different terrains, and again, it just tests their understanding of what their bodies are able to accomplish.
And Abdul, I'm really curious from a federation standpoint, why are these things really important and why is it important to Saudi?
Extreme sports are important to Saudi Arabia from the federation view from two sides. First, the sport section, many adventure activities are sports, and we are a federation building teams and athletes and encouraging engagement of people to practice outdoor activity. And that will lead to Saudi athletes progressing in skills and elevating their skill to a competition level. From the side of the activity itself, adventure sports are important to people to engage with nature and live a healthy life, and it's part of how to educate the population to go out and do activities with the nature, with physical activity that's not very hard for people, doesn't need a high level of shape. It's just activity that they can do to engage with nature and feel the adventure, the thrill, with the safety limits.
And then Adam, from kind of a private sector investor point of view, why are these important?
Well, I think the one thing that ties us all together is that none of us sell things, maybe merchandise, but apart from that, we sell an experience, and that experience is linked to the way that we make people feel. And if you can make people feel special, and heading towards self-actualization, actually getting people to feel, overcoming a challenge like skydiving. There's a fear associated to skydiving. If you're able to accomplish that, that memory will be anchored. And if you can anchor that memory to a destination, of course, that's only going to help promote the destination. So we find that with whether it be a hot air balloon, whether it be a mountain bike, whether it be a roller coaster, once you anchor that memory, that positive experience will obviously drive destination development as well.
And just from a destination development side point, why is this important to have these two elements of both outdoor sports and those adventure experiences?
Well, let's just start off with the experience side because everyone's talking about experiences. In many tourism destinations, you have multiple pillars. It's either you activate F&B, or you activate wellness, or you activate culture, and you activate arts. We're trying to activate adventure as one of those pillars, and through adventure, you get tons of experiences. And we know how many adventure products there are out there in the world. We're trying to bring the best that we can to Al Ula. That's the first part on adventure. And why is it important? Because a lot of people don't necessarily know that they can go out and do some adventure experiences in a place like Al Ula. So we want them to realize that that opportunity is there in order for them to experience a destination from a different side of view versus just getting on a bus, going to Hegra, and seeing those majestic monuments that you see of the tombs, etc., and the majestic landscapes at the same time, that there's something else to offer. To answer your second question, when it comes to sports, outdoor sports, we need to think about it that sports is clustered into two different segments. The first segment is spectator sports, and the second one is participatory sports. The first segment of spectator sports are events where people just come to Al Ula to attend in order to watch, like the Al Ula Falcon Cup, the Al Ula Captain Cup, in the future the Al Ula Tennis Cup potentially. We had also the Desert Polo. People are flying in to spend time at the destination to see those events and to keep them there for a couple more nights, and then obviously go out and do what people do in Al Ula. With the participatory sports, people are coming for the sake of participating in a race or an event. And right now we have a few. Just to name three of them, for example, we have the Al Ula Trail Race, which is a 50K and 100K ultra marathon. And it happens, there are people crazy enough who want to run a 100K ultra marathon in Saudi, in Al Ula, and I'm not one of them. Maybe the gentleman to my right is Abdurrahman. But
Sorry to interject. Didn't you have the world record for running the most marathons in every continent?
I did. That was 7 years ago. I think it's expired by now. But yeah, going on with participatory sports, we had Tough Mudder, which was the obstacle course race. People would come, and we had a sold out 1,000 people camping in order to wake up in the morning and suffer in an obstacle course race. And then once they're there, we try to push them out into the destination to be able to see and enjoy what Al Ula has to offer, be it again with culture, arts, heritage, etc. and sight. The last one is basically in the summer, and that's something that maybe I'll keep for later because I've spoken a bit much about that, but I have something that I'd like to share with you in the panel a little bit later.
No, and it's great to hear that there are such numbers that you speak of that are coming out and participating in these extreme sports now. I mean, just think 5 years from now, what kind of numbers everyone's going to be doing when it comes to activities like this. So when it comes to doing the different types of, whether it's outdoor sports or the adventure experiences, what are you guys seeing that are your biggest challenges in kind of your respective areas when it comes to these items and these things that we are inviting our guests to do? Yes.
Shall I go?
Start with you, yeah.
I think the biggest challenge, certainly for Saudi, is you've got the most remarkable terrain. You've got the kingdom is amazing in terms of its topography. All the way, down in the southwest, you've got Asir, you've got 3,000 meter high mountains, you've got the Red Sea and all its beauty on and underneath the water. You've got Al Ula, you've got Neom, Tabuk area, you've got Wadi Disa, you've got the empty quarter, you've got the most incredible terrain. And I think the desire of the powers that be in the kingdom all want everything to happen straight away. And you've got the giga projects which are taking place, which are going to start coming to light very soon with Red Sea Global, and obviously Al Ula's already operating. But you've got these amazing locations throughout the country which have no infrastructure, and it's getting the people or getting access to those places, having accommodation offers in those places which are affordable, and the experiences which people can do in a very safe and a controlled environment. So I think that currently that's the biggest challenge. I see probably in a year, 12, 18 months time, the next biggest challenge is going to be the capacity to take people out on these trips in terms of the local capacity and training within the kingdom. At the moment we've got all the giga projects and all the amazing experiences in the pipeline, but who's going to manage? Who's going to operate? Who's actually going to be the staff on the ground running these things? So I think training and having suitable qualified staff, both from a technical point of view in the sports, but also from a service delivery point of view, is going to be the biggest challenge.
Adam?
So as a private investor, we have a unique set of challenges that, as a small business especially, and it's usually access to land. The amount of land that we need to put on an experience is generally about the same amount of land that you could build a theme park or that you could build a hotel or a set of apartment buildings. So you know, when I come into a destination like the Palm, for example, and I said, look, I can put an amazing balloon up, 100 stories, you can see the whole city, it sounds great, but I need like a 60-meter diameter. 60-meter, you can build a, you know, 50-story high-rise building. So access to land is always difficult, but I feel from the conversations that I've had, that's being addressed already in Saudi. I mean, they're already going from 13% national park to 30%. So they do seem to understand that a city, a destination full of hotels but nothing to do is not the way forward. So they do seem to be earmarking parts of land, which is why we're so excited about being in Saudi, is that our biggest problem seems to be something that we can address in this country, which is fantastic.
Abdul?
The challenge we see now for sport people in Saudi Arabia who want to practice adventure or extreme sport is training facilities, which is now in good progression, but it's not there yet. The thing that is, it's always important for people who want to do extreme sport or to establish a location, they need to practice on how to do things safely in a secure environment with the safety measures. And for example, skydiving, we see we don't have a skydiving center in Saudi Arabia, but we have people go and skydive in different countries. They are prepared already in a well-established skydiving center. Now when they come here, they can do skydiving, they can do base jumping with some training, but it's now the start where we can move this task forward. We need a start from a training facility, and this holds different sports from moving faster now. We hope soon we have the facilities needed for training so people can start do the activities in the next level. So either in nature, base jumping, or even climbing. It's a sport that depends on a training facility to prepare people to take the challenge with the safety systems. Then they can take it to the next level. So in the sport view, for the challenging for sport people to progress, it's always the facilities for people where they train. But it's progressing now, and we have different discussions with different government entity, private sector, with vision projects. So they're all aware of this, and it's moving, inshallah, faster than we think.
Nizar, what are your thoughts?
Look, I think the greatest challenge with any destination is always how to keep the engine running throughout the year, especially in a place like this where in Saudi Arabia, we don't really have 4 seasons. Let's face it, right? So we're entering the summer period, somehow have almost softly entered into the summer season. We're technically in the shoulder season. But what do you do in the summer? During the winter, obviously, I will say with all humility, we do a pretty good job of getting concerts and activations and art galleries and Desert X and other things that you may have seen on social media. And there's people coming in all the time, and flights are booked throughout the season. But that's not the tricky part of the engine. The other part of the engine, which is the hard part, is in the summer. What do you do when it's 45 or 50 degrees outside? So last year we were sitting together in a meeting, and it was, time for the summer, and we said, what are we going to do to bring tourists to Al Ula in the summer? So we came up with a very bright idea to decide to put together a marathon competition in the middle of the summer during the hottest month of the year, arguably the hottest week of the year, maybe even the hottest day of the year. It was a test pilot, and I think it worked pretty well because it sold out. We had 200 runners from around the world, with 41 countries being represented. It was a test. This year we're doing it again for the second edition and trying to grow it and get even more numbers. I know the numbers are small compared to the big cities, but you need to test something that works. And for us, what we're trying to do, which is a very difficult task, is to avoid the word seasonality and just to go from a seasonality to have a calendar of events, something that's happening in every single quarter of the year. That's the greatest challenge.
And I'm going to stay with you. How are the destinations differentiating each other, but also at the same time complementing each other when it comes to these aspects?
I think the answer is in your question. You said the word differentiating. They are different naturally by themselves. So look at Red Sea Global. We can never compete with Red Sea Global, and Red Sea Global can't compete with Al Ola. We can't compete with the magical wonders of the Red Sea. What are we going to do? Build another Red Sea in Al Ola? That's impossible. We can't do that. And vice versa with Hegra and the monuments and the tombs. That's something that can be done and replicated 7,000 years later. So we can't do that so that's a differentiator. So the idea here is to actually decide one of two things: either compete or work together. And I think you know which one people should do. So what we want to do is basically work, and we are doing that, establishing corridors between us and the Red Sea Global, where people can come to Al Ola for 4 days and do their cultural stuff and adventure and their arts and entertainment, and then go over to Red Sea Global and spend a magnificent 4 days as if they were in the Maldives, with beaches even almost as good, if not better than the Maldives. So then all of a sudden you go from being two different destinations to two destinations that are complementing each other without any risk to anyone. And that goes back down to Vision 2030. The number one KPI is increasing length of stay. We want tourists to come and explore and experience, not to visit only, to experience Saudi Arabia. And this is one way of doing so.
I think it's a very good answer, well done. And I think that's at the macro level. I think it's also very important to look at it from the micro level. So when you are looking at these amazing destinations in Saudi, you've got provinces which are the size of a country, essentially. And when you've got teams working within each of those projects or the provinces, is how do you differentiate it within the province as well? And exactly as Nizar was saying, you differentiate it, you provide unique selling points to each of the products. You look at the topography, how do you enhance the topography by the offer? And you create a customer journey, a narrative within the province, within the destination itself. So you've got different pockets. You could have clusters or hubs of activity centers, one offering hiking and trails, another one offering air sports. If you're by the coastline, you've got another one offering the water sports. And it's just creating a place when people are coming to destinations, they're coming for 5 days a week. They've got something to do. Every single day is going to be a different opportunity, a different thing for them to do. And this goes for indoor sports, indoor activities as well. You want people to come back time and time again. So you want them to feel as though they've accomplished a lot, but they haven't accomplished everything. So the next time they come back, they're going to probably repeat what they've already done in a smaller scale, but then do more of the other stuff as well.
It's almost like it's building that sense of community specific to that experience and that sport.
So that differentiation for us is an amazing opportunity. We are not McDonald's. We don't want someone to go to multiple destinations and have the same experience. We want them to have an experience in one location. We've earned their trust. They enjoy their experience, and they're encouraged to then go to destination number 2. An example of that is when we started in the UAE, we do desert experiences in 1950s Land Rovers to see the pristine dunes of the UAE. But when we came to Saudi, we started doing volcano safaris at Harat Kaiba, which is completely different type of experience, the essence of which should be the same, but the topography and the experience is completely different. And then in Al Ula, we're operating in this fantastic reserve called Sharan, which if you haven't heard of yet, you will in the future. It will be as famous as Yosemite and all that, I think, in the future, because it is absolutely stunning. And inside there, we go through multiple biomes. There's rock art that dates back 2,800 years. There's Arabian wolves. It'll be the location that the Arabian leopards will be released. So you could do 3 safaris with us, and it's completely different. With hot air balloons, of course, it's the same. We can fly over water in certain situations, so we could fly over the Red Sea. We can fly over Al Ula. We can fly over Dubai. So in that situation, we are just the lens of which you see the destination. We're not creating as much as someone like Nizar maybe. It's fantastic. The diversity here is fantastic. It's an excellent opportunity for us to be creative and showcase different cultures, different topographies. It's amazing.
Awesome. So Abdul, any kind of thoughts from the federation standpoint on that?
Uh, I cannot add more. They explained everything about this, and it's true. It's the difference with the goals of the destination, the location, and the type of environment around it. Different location like Asir. Asir is full of adventure activities because the nature there, the location there, the climbing and hiking activities, paragliding, different activities that is it's amazing to be practiced there because of the location itself. You don't need to build anything. It's just the location itself is promoting these activities. But when you go now, you consider the destinations that build, actually that invest in building and promoting actual sport, like Nizar said about the marathon, rally, and it's the hot air balloons. It's attached to the Al-Ula now. It's attached to the image. So this is a good promotion to the location, and it's a sport now that people see it there and see where they can practice that sport. So each destination, it's unique in the location itself and what they invest more in the sport itself. So for the federation, we try to assist and work with the destination and the different cities, different projects. So we benefit from what they do to promote these sports and try to be part of that in terms of regulation and holding events there and promoting and hopefully trying to also bring investment and investors to try to use this chance which is already built and it's running and just need to put a little more to make a successful business.
Awesome. So, conscious of time, got a question for each of you. Take your work hat off. We're going to get your opinions. And Abdul, I want to start with you because my extreme is a little bit different probably from your extreme. So how do you define extreme sports yourself?
Extreme sport is where you find yourself doing something out of the limit that you think you cannot pass. And it's anything that can be hiking that you're not used to do, and shark diving or skydiving. So it actually doesn't have to be something dangerous, number one. Number two, anything you see dangerous doesn't necessarily be dangerous. Like jumping out of aircraft is not dangerous at all. It's one of the safest adventure sports that you can do. It's safer than riding a motorbike. It's safer. Actually, the accidents are low, but now you see it dangerous and you see it extreme because you fear that. And so the point is what you actually fear. And doesn't matter if you fear hiking or climbing or skydiving, as long as you got that thrill of adventure and activity. So it's good, it's okay for anyone. From a point of view from the federation, what's important to us is every activity is safe within its safety limits, and everything is calculated within the international standards. So for us, if you do hike without taking care of the safety measurements, is dangerous than doing a skydive sometimes. So for us, is if it's safe, well regulated, and people doing it right, it's safe for us, it's good for us, and it's a nice activity for you.
And I think your statement is very empowering to people who might be hesitant when they hear like adventure and extreme, because you break it down really easy and it's what challenges you. And I'm going to use myself for an example. I've jumped out of a plane and it was fun. If you ask me to go hiking, that's challenging to me. And so I would say hiking is a bit more adventurous and extreme than jumping out of a plane, because I don't feel too challenged, to your point, jumping out of a plane. Very empowering statement. Adam, question for you. You've had really great success in Dubai. So why Saudi? Why now?
Well, actually, we've had really great success in Saudi now as well. So we organize the Alula Skies Balloon Festival. So if you've ever seen pictures of Alula, you've probably seen lots of balloons in the sky. So we were able to bring balloon pilots from all over the world for that. So I feel like we have already been successful. But what we did, and I think what we offer, is an opportunity for one-off experiences like a festival, like a balloon festival or a cycling festival, or to actually then anchor that to an opportunity throughout the year. So one of the opportunities we saw with the hot air balloons was it's fantastic if you go to Alula for that, particular set of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, but what about the rest of the year? What about the other 49 weeks of the year? And that's why we come in. So we're investing in the long-term growth of the country by saying, look, we're establishing ourselves now as an investor, knowing that we'll be here in 10 years' time. So for us, it's an opportunity for us to, I think, leave a legacy as well. I think this country has a blank slate, and it has an opportunity to avoid the mistakes that a lot of other countries have made. And it seems very intent to do that. So if you talk to the product development people at, say, for Alula or the Red Sea or Qiddiya, Neom, Trojena, they're very, very cognizant of that, and they are really very particular about who they're choosing and who they're bringing in. They really want the best of the best. We feel like we are the best of the best, and it's a fantastic opportunity for us to have the freedom to do something special rather than having to differentiate from, let's say, not so special experiences.
Awesome. Ben, what's been your favorite project that you've worked on here in Saudi?
I'm going to answer your first question to which you asked Abdul Majid. My extreme is going on the London Underground. Absolutely hate it. I get so scared. Anyway, favorite project here. I'm actually going to say we worked on a project with the gentleman on my left here in Alula. It's because it's the most forward project at the moment, so it's realizable. It's realistic. So I think in terms of the content and the output we did for that was really exciting and interesting. I think in terms of location, it has to be Asir. I think down in the southwest, Asir is just the most remarkable destination. You got the Red Sea, you got the desert plains, you got the empty quarter, you got the mountains, you got the wadis. It's got everything on offer. It's just the most incredible place. I first went there 6 years ago, and I was probably one of the first Westerners to visit Asir during that time, or one of the very few. And I'd actually been to, and there hadn't been a lot of Saudis who had been there as well. And I think COVID opened up the doors for Asir and for the rest of the country actually, and opened up the eyes of the domestic market here. So I think there's a huge amount of opportunity within the whole country, but I think Asir offers the most.
Awesome. And Azar, for you, being in the government sector and tourism since 2017, what's got you most excited about Alula?
Quite a few things. I think one thing that gets me out of bed, possibly the only thing that gets me out of bed in the morning working at Alula, is you genuinely have the opportunity to make a difference in the overall tourism ecosystem. Working behind a desk is not for me. Maybe it is for others. Working on projects, probably not. I like to leave a destination different from when I first joined it, leave it better. And when I say leave it better, it's not necessarily bigger and brighter and more expensive and the biggest. No, that's not better. Better is something that blends in with nature, doesn't clash with it. This is something I said last year. It's something that works together with culture and heritage, doesn't go against it. But basically, essentially really working with something that you leave your footprint at the destination, and then years down the line, you leave it different than when you first saw it at the very first time. This, for me, is the most important thing and the most thing that keeps me going.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time today and for everything that you have shared with us. We do not have time for questions. However, I do encourage you, if you do want to continue the conversation, grab these guys right after. And yeah, thank you once again. Thank you all for joining us today.